I'm not even sure where to start. You see, I actually had good credit once. Take that back, I'm not sure if I had good credit. But the point is, I ended up with 500 ish credit score. Might have been worse. 2012, I started a company and the company went out of business. Don't do that. Don't start a company, then run it to the ground, and then not pay any of your bills. So I ended up not paying any of my bills, including student loans, and I ended up with like a lot of debt. Let's just say I had over 25, maybe even like 50 late payments. And I'm going to show you how I went from a 500 credit score to an 800 credit score, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, the first thing that you got to do if you have really bad credit is you need to stop with the late payments. So you need to start paying things on time, and you have to do that immediately. The second thing that you need to do is to get a secured credit card. And basically, you're going to chop up all your old credit cards or the ones that you stopped making payments on. You need to start making payments on those. And with the Wells Fargo Secure Credit Card, it allows you to put a certain amount of money as a balance, and then you're going to hold that against the charges that you make. So I opened a Wells Fargo $500 secure credit card, and allows me to put up to $10,000 in a savings account that allows me to charge up to that much amount of money. So I started with 500. Next, after I had established that line of credit at Wells Fargo up to about $2,000 or $3,000, what I did is I went and opened a Capital One Quicksilver card. It's kind of a beginner's card. I think they had a credit limit of about $1,000. After that, I opened a Discover It card, and that gave me a credit limit of about $5,000, I believe. By now, I had started saving money in my Wells Fargo secure card, and it had been maybe 12 to 15 months, and I had put up to about $10,000 in there. I was extremely diligent. I was really serious about fixing this credit. So it's at this point where you're thinking probably, is this all about just getting credit cards? And the answer is no. You have to tackle these late payments and these accounts that are in default. So I had a number of late payments that I had never addressed, as well as accounts that had gone into default, some medical bills. I mentioned earlier a student loan. One of my student loans that was worth $10,000 went into default. So in order to get that off my record, what I did is I called the student loan debt company. So it had been sold from the student loan company to a debt collector. And I called them and I said the following: I have so many different bills that I need to pay. How am I going to prioritize yours as number one? The only way that I'll prioritize yours as number one is if you promise me that you're going to take it off of my three credit rating scores. That's TransUnion, Equifax, etc. And so they said, yeah, of course, we'll take it off your credit. And I said, no, I want this in writing so that if you don't, I can take legal action against you. And they kind of push back a little bit, but for an amount of as high as $10,000, they're willing to do it. And I really believe that you could tell the same story as little as even an account with $1,000 or $2,000, and they're going to believe you because they really want you to just pay, and they don't really care whether it's on your credit or not. That's kind of their final string they can pull. Now with all the other bills, I had probably, like I said, many late payments. At this point, I was able to pay off all of my late payments, but I had essentially, they were still on my credit score for 7 years. It takes 7 years for them to drop off. And now, just want to let you know, fast forward, they have dropped off and your credit score does improve. But now you just have to wait. It's the waiting game. So the next thing I did was once I took care of all of the past due payments and I was paying on time now, It's just a matter of 7 years for those to improve on my credit score, but I still needed more credit. So I applied for the Discover IT credit card, which gave me another like $5,000 credit limit, and I also applied for the Amex Blue Everyday card, which gave me a $15,000 credit limit, which was kind of like my first step into thinking, wow, my credit must be on the mend because these credit companies are giving me more and more credit. The reason I'm seeking out a larger and larger and larger and larger credit cards is because the larger your available credit and the lower the amount that you have as an open balance on these cards, they will increase your credit score substantially. So I kept a zero balance on all of my credit cards since 2013. And over the years, as my credit limit increased and my credit balance stayed zero, my credit score jumped substantially. So the next step that I did is, now that I had established a fairly decent credit score, maybe I was up to like 650-ish. At this point, you can start to apply for the better credit cards. And I had wanted to apply. So the next thing I did is I applied for the Capital One Venture card and the Chase Sapphire Preferred, not the Reserve. None of my credit cards I spend $500 a year on. I don't really have a reason to do that, and we can touch on that another day. But at this point, the Chase Sapphire Preferred gave me a $15,000 credit limit, and the Venture card gave me a $30,000 credit limit. So that was really a game changer, because with all that credit added up, it was somewhere between $60,000 and $80,000. And having a zero balance and maintaining that really gave my credit score a full 100 to 150 point boost. On top of all of my payments were current, although this showed some were late in the past. That really boosts your credit score as much as 200 or 300 points, depending on who you are and what the circumstances are. Finally, what I'll say is I had my checking account, and they offered a credit card as well for $8,750. I accepted that. So all in all, I have roughly 8 credit cards, and I'm not looking for a new one right now, because I established this about 5 years ago. It was 8 years ago when my credit really went bad. It was about 7 years ago when it did the turnaround, and for about 6 years my credit has been really clean. So this last year right now, I'm waiting for everything to drop off. I'm already at, I think, 770 is my current credit score. So if you do all of these steps and you make your payments on time and you reestablish your credit with a secure card and slowly work your way up into the more like legitimate credit cards, you're gonna actually have incredible credit. And I hope you found this video useful. If you enjoyed what I had to say, smash the like button below. Also, please subscribe and hit that notification button. Thank you.